Like forever ago, you know? A decade ago. My name is Ian Glenn, and I play Sir Jorah Mormont. He's an exiled knight, and he'd been banished because he was foolish enough to sell slaves, and Ned Stark didn't like it. He's trying to win favor back in Westeros by keeping an eye on the Targaryens, and Dany in particular. The first time we see him, he's at a wedding of Khal Drogo and Daenerys. Jorah arrives with this rather sweet present.
Songs and histories from the Seven Kingdoms.
Are you from my country?
Sir Jorah Mormont of Bear Island.
His first movement is a dishonest one, which we don't know at the time.
I served your father for many years. Gods be good, I hope to always serve the rightful king.
He senses a sweet truth about Daenerys. Throughout that first season, he learns to respect her, but it's kind of what makes his love grow for her as well, seeing her cope with these difficult circumstances and not just survive, but shine. You've witnessed her marriage to Khal Drogo, the death of her brother, and seeing her cope with the death of her child. And then it all leads up to this funeral pyre with Khal Drogo having died. And it was Daenerys entering the ashes of the pyre. And then she gives birth to the dragon out of these ashes. In that moment, everything comes together, and he sees this woman who's more than anything that he could have ever imagined.
Blood of my blood.
I think we understand by the end of season 1 that he is going to live for her.
She's in a good mood.
And of course, Daenerys Harris is just careless and cool of it all, which is really fucking irritating, you know, when all you've done is really love this person and try to be proper and probably right, and then this kind of dude comes in, you know, with this friggin' spinny fucking blade, and she gets all fucking attracted to him.
Has she come yet?
Who?
The Dragon Queen. Daenerys Stormborn.
Haven't heard anything.
Jorah is at his worst. He's ruined by grayscale and is being kept in isolation unit. And he's just waiting his death. And Samwell Tarly pops up.
I knew your father. I was with him when he died. You're not dying today, Sir Jorah.
He tries to take on the difficult task of peeling it off him. Against the odds, Sam saves Jorah's life.
I return to your service, my queen. If you'll have me.
It would be my honor.
He does notice Jon Snow, and I don't think he's as threatened because he wants what's good for her, and that is feels like a good alliance.
Cersei thinks the army of the dead is nothing but a story, made up by wet nurses to frighten children. What if we prove her wrong?
Tyrion comes up with this plan to capture a White, and that's, you know, I don't think Jorah has any purpose hanging about near Dany. That's he's a fighter. That's what he does. He's got the chance to fight for her again. He doesn't think twice about it. They go on this mad journey to try and capture a White. It all goes pear-shaped, and they look like they're all going to meet their maker when Dany flies in. And they all fly out, but he sees her lose one of her children. The Dragon Pit is a gathering of all the various heads of department to try and to work out what the best move is from here.
There is only one war that matters. The Great War. And it is here.
The Crown accepts your truth. Until the dead are defeated, they are the true enemy.
And the resolve is that they're going to face the Great War, which is up ahead, and Jorah will be right in the mix.
Hey everybody, it's Charlie. We got a brand new Game of Thrones Season 8 promo to break down, this time about Jorah Mormont and Daenerys Targaryen's storyline. Really love the funny moment where Ian Glenn talks about Daario and Daenerys, but there's a lot of good foreshadowing for his storyline during Season 8, so we'll break it down. There's a new round of that Game of Thrones book giveaway too. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber and leave a comment on the video. The thing about his backstory is they haven't really gone into that recently, but because they're coming back to Winterfell in the first episode, in the first couple of scenes, he's going to be reunited with the little bear eventually, so they'll have to address it in some way. Like the last time that you were here, Ned Stark could have beheaded you for slaving your own people, but instead exiled you to Essos, and now you've come back. So it's not like that's suddenly water under the bridge for the little bear and the people of Bear Island. And if you guys weren't sure what his relationship to the little bear is, the little bear is the daughter of Mage Mormont. Mage Mormont is Jorah's aunt, so the little bear is Jorah's cousin, not his daughter or anything like that. He was married to Lyness Hightower. That was the woman who wanted really rich, wonderful, fine things that he needed money for, so that's why he started slaving. So hopefully that clarifies how the little bear is related to Ser Jorah. But the whole idea with the little bear is that she's probably one of the safest characters of all. She'll live on to continue to rule Bear Island. So just because Ser Jorah has come back to the realm with Daenerys and he's seemingly redeemed himself, he seems like a good person. He's been through the fire, metaphorically and psychologically, because of the trial with the grayscale, Samwell helping him get rid of it, and then just redeeming himself through his actions in trying to serve Daenerys. That doesn't suddenly mean that everyone on Bear Island is going to welcome him back and tell him to take over and continue to rule again. There's a couple key things that Ian Glenn talks about when he's talking about Ser Jorah's storyline that gives you an idea for what he's going to be doing during Season 8 and all this foreshadowing about how his story is supposed to end. He has one goal going into Season 8, and that is to serve and die for Daenerys. That is all he's wanted to do since the end of Season 1 when he turned, as he says during this video, when she stepped out of the fire with the dragons. Like he's completely convinced that she is the one. Remember way back during Season 4, though, when his treachery is outed because of the royal pardon that arrives and Barristan Selmy sees, what is this? Takes it to Daenerys and she kicks him out. Big callback to the Lannisters. If you don't remember, it's actually Tywin Lannister that was behind that royal pardon, but it was Varys' little birds that literally brought the letter to Barristan Selmy's hand. Tywin was the one that was behind the plot ultimately because he wanted to neutralize Daenerys' quote-unquote small council. He knew Jorah Mormont was helping her out, so he wanted to take that away from her. He also knew about Barristan Selmy, so he wanted to try and isolate her as much as possible. And it was successful for a little while, but it was just another trial that those characters had to go through that catalyzed them and brought them all back together eventually. He talks about his relationship with Tyrion. They're amicable. I wouldn't call them best friends or anything like that, but they do have a mutual respect for each other. They're also apparently, based on Peter Dinklage's comments now, friend zone bros, if you believe his comments about loving Daenerys. I think the difference between Tyrion and Jorah is that Tyrion still values his own life more than Jorah values his own life, and Tyrion also still loves his family, the Lannisters, one of whom, Cersei, is still currently one of their greatest enemies in the Great War. So Jorah's loyalties aren't torn in any way. Like, he's completely loyal to Daenerys and wants to fight for her, but in doing that, he's also helping serve the North because now they have a common cause. The Night King and the Army of the Dead is slowly marching down to Winterfell. So just remember all those important foreshadowing moments during Season 7, like where Ian Glenn talks about Jorah thinking that he doesn't belong in the map table room planning battles. He belongs in battle, which is why he is one of the first people to sign up for Jon Snow's mission to go beyond the wall to get the White and bring it back to Cersei. He also has probably one of the coolest Season 8 foreshadowing scenes in all of Season 7 when they're on that mission, when he's talking to Jon Snow about Longclaw. So Jon tries to give it back to him. Your father gave this to me. It served me well. And he says, no, keep it. It belongs to you now. May this protect you and your children, which obviously is a big reference to all the foreshadowing that they've done since Season 1, that Daenerys will eventually get pregnant and have more children with, as you can see now, one Jon Snow, Aegon Targaryen. She'll hatch another dragon. Season 7, Episode 6 and Episode 7 had scenes that were particularly on the nose about this. Daenerys goes on and on about how all the Targaryens are dead except for her. She's the last one, and there's absolutely no way in a million years that she would ever have more children. So, big twist, of course, she's probably going to have another child with Jon Snow here. Also more foreshadowing, tying the Longclaw moment back to Jorah and what's happening with Bear Island now that he's back in the north. Think about it this way, Jorah Mormont has technically been pardoned by the throne, so he's back in the north, meaning by rules of succession, Bear Island passes back to him instead of the little bear. Based on the way he treated Longclaw when Jon Snow tried to give it back to him, which was his by rights, and how he refused to take it back, Also, probably going to be a similar moment during Season 8 about the lordship of Bear Island. Like, regardless of what you think is going to happen to him, he's probably not going to go back to Bear Island to become the Lord again. Ser Jorah's role in all this, regardless of whether or not he lives to find out Daenerys is going to get pregnant again, is to protect her and fight and possibly die for her. So he's going to throw himself on any White Walker's ice javelin he can to prevent her from being taken down like Viserion, charging the field, as Ian Glenn says, in the thick of it all, like he seems really excited to fight in this big battle. So even though the show doesn't trade on happy endings for characters, it does feel like if you pay off Jorah's arc, you let him fulfill his purpose, which is to live and die for Daenerys and see her be happy. So even though he's pretty high on my death predictions list, I still think that he survives to see that Daenerys is happy with Jon Snow, that she's pregnant with his child, and she's relatively safe. Then the show will probably allow him to die. So that would mean that he would probably survive at least till the later episodes, but post all your early Ser Jorah Season 8 predictions in the comments below. And for all of you asking about the Game of Thrones Season 8 trailer, I do believe that they're going to drop that sometime before the end of February, so anytime in the next 2 to 3 weeks. So just keep your eyes peeled. Whatever ends up coming, I will totally make a video for it, but leave your requests in the comments below if there's specific bonus videos you want me to do. Congratulations, Jolie S. You're the giveaway winner from my last big Game of Thrones video. Please email me on the About page of my channel so I can get your contact details. To answer your question, that's Podrick standing behind Arya in his red armor in the courtyard at Winterfell. You can pick him out because he's been wearing the same armor this whole time. Click here for that new Game of Thrones Season 8 episode.